The story opens on a desolate military outpost where two young soldiers, Vitya and Sergei, are counting down the grueling final days of their mandatory conscription. Through cold nights and harsh duties, an unyielding brotherhood forms between them. Their anticipation of returning home is shattered when Vitya receives a letter from his fiancée Vika. Expecting comforting words, he reads in disbelief as she coldly admits she has fallen for another man and will not wait for him. The devastating betrayal completely breaks Vitya, leaving him emotionally hollow with no desire to return to his old life. Seeing his friend in deep despair, Sergei offers him a fresh start. He invites Vitya to travel to his remote rural village after discharge, promising that his kind mother Vera will welcome him like family. Having no home to return to, Vitya gratefully accepts. But fate is cruel. Just days before release, an unexpected patrol separates the two comrades without giving them a chance to say goodbye, completely oblivious that this parting is the last time they will ever see each other alive. Upon finishing his service, Vitya receives heartbreaking news. Sergei is dead. A fellow soldier tries to console him, explaining that the tragedy was merely a senseless twist of fate, but Vitya remains haunted. Driven by a deep sense of loyalty and the solemn promise he made during late-night talks, Vitya refuses to return to his hometown. Instead, he obtains a contact phone number from a comrade and embarks on an emotional pilgrimage to Sergei's distant village, firmly determined to visit his brother's resting place and pay his final respects. When Vitya arrives in the quiet village, he makes his way to the modest house of Vera, Sergei's grieving mother. Having read letters from her son praising Vitya, Vera recognizes him instantly and welcomes him with open arms. Her first act is to guide him to the cemetery, where they stand in silence over Sergei's fresh grave, bound by shared grief. Returning to her home, Vera opens up about the suffocating loneliness that has consumed her life since her son's death, and the daily burden of living alone while her husband Nikolai serves a long prison sentence. Moved by her vulnerability, Vitya reveals his own painful past. He grew up in a cold state orphanage, never knowing his biological parents or the warmth of a mother's love. Their raw honesty bridges the gap between them, creating a powerful emotional bond. Sensing his genuine spirit, Vera willingly agrees when Vitya offers to stay for a few days to repair her broken homestead and handle the physically demanding farm work. Vitya immediately throws himself into hard physical labor, fixing broken fences and tending to livestock to ease Vera's daily burden. However, his presence in the homestead does not go unnoticed. Nura, Vera's nosy sister-in-law, drops by unexpectedly and is stunned to find a young, capable man working on the property. Though Vitya politely introduces himself and explains his reason for visiting Sergei's grave, Nura's suspicious mind immediately twists the situation. Within hours, rumors sweep through the village that the widow has taken in a young lover. Soon after, Nura sarcastically confronts Vera. Vera stands tall with unwavering strength, sharply reminding Nura of the tragedy she has endured. Her husband's arrest, her son's sudden death, and years of bitter isolation. Vera boldly declares that Vitya is like a son to her and refuses to bow to village gossip. Meanwhile, as Vitya cooks meals and works in the yard, quiet, tender moments and subtle, lingering looks ignite an unexpected warmth between them. Determined to ruin Vera's peace, Nura conspires with Fedya, a bitter local man who has secretly lusted after Vera for years. Together, they manipulate Fedya into drafting a venomous letter to Nikolai in prison, warning him that a young man is living under his roof with his wife. Unaware of the conspiracy, Vera and Vitya spend another evening sharing their deepest truths. Vera tearfully reveals how her parents died early, how her medical dreams were shattered, and how she spent years enduring Nikolai's volatile temper while raising Sergei alone. The absolute honesty draws them into a powerful emotional orbit. The following morning, Vera brings out new clothes that belong to Sergei. As she steps close to help Vitya adjust his necktie, the physical closeness breaks Vitya's restraint. Overwhelmed by affection, he impulsively leans in and kisses her. Shocked by her own reaction and mortified by his bold act, Vitya flees the house into the freezing air. Outside, Fedya intercepts him, issuing threats before mailing the letter to Nikolai. As night falls and the temperature plummets, Vera cannot bear the thought of Vitya shivering outside in the bitter cold. She searches the darkness, finds him, and gently brings him back inside. Sitting by the stove, they drop all pretenses and confess the romantic love growing between them. Though Vera wrestles with fear over their age difference and public shame, her heart wins over her doubts. That night, they surrender to passion, permanently altering their relationship from shared grief into a deep love affair. The next morning, Fedya blocks Vitya's path in the village, threatening to reveal everything to Nikolai if Vitya stays. Vitya looks him in the eye, fearlessly stating he does not fear Nikolai or his threats. Later, an intoxicated Fedya corners Vera, offering to suppress the letter if she submits to his sexual desires. Vera rejects his disgusting blackmail, brandishing a kitchen knife to force him out. Fearing for Vitya's safety, Vera tearfully commands him to leave. Vitya begs her to divorce Nikolai and start a new life together, but Vera tearfully refuses, bound by memories of her son and her traumatic past. Heartbroken, Vitya packs his bag and heads to the train station at sunrise. Standing on the cold platform, he remembers Sergei's dying words and his comrade's phone number. Changing his mind, he skips the train to Gorsk and buys a ticket to St. Petersburg instead, leaving behind a short note for Vera containing his address. Following his abrupt departure, Vera visits Sergei's grave, repeatedly telling herself that breaking off the romance was the only moral choice for Vitya's future. She throws herself into grueling shifts at the furniture factory, desperate to earn a work bonus for her son's stone monument. In St. Petersburg, a heartbroken Vitya calls Vera's factory repeatedly, but she intentionally refuses to answer out of fear and lingering passion. Desperate to forget her, Vitya stops calling. Shortly after, his ex-girlfriend Vika appears at his apartment to retrieve her passport for a job in Germany. Vitya peacefully returns the document, and a tearful Vika admits she was manipulated and abandoned by a wealthy lover after leaving Vitya. That night, Vitya suffers a nightmare where Sergei congratulates him on marrying Vera, only for the scene to violently transform into an agonizing funeral where Vera screams at him to leave. Waking in terror, Vitya reveals the full story of his love for Vera to Vika. Vika urges him to let go of the past and start fresh with her, offering to move with him to Gorsk. Meanwhile, in the village cemetery, Vera stands over Sergei's grave and tearfully confesses she is carrying Vitya's child. The doctor warns her that time is running out to decide on the pregnancy, leaving Vera terrified of what the future holds for her unborn baby. Months pass and Vitya lives in a cold, unfulfilling arrangement with Vika in St. Petersburg, his heart still captive to Vera. Early one morning, a pale, visibly pregnant Vera collapses outside Vitya's apartment door. Vika opens the door and, unaware of the stranger's true identity, kindly brings the exhausted woman inside to recover. In the village, Nura discovers Vera traveled to Gorsk and alerts Fedya, who ominously decides to wait before sending Nikolai's violent thugs inside the St. Petersburg apartment. Vika receives confirmation for her German work visa. Realizing that the fragile woman resting in her living room is the Vera Vitya endlessly longs for, Vika acts with selfless grace. She urges Vitya to chase after Vera at the train station before she disappears forever. Vitya runs frantically to the platform just as the heavy train pulls away. In a heroic leap, he grabs the iron railing and swings onto the moving train, reuniting with Vera in a tearful embrace. Returning to the village together, they face the townspeople hand in hand, their love stronger than ever. Vera uses her factory bonus to finish Sergei's gravestone and confesses she only ignored his calls because hearing his voice broke her heart. When Nura discovers from the village doctor that Vera is carrying Vitya's baby, she immediately alerts Fedya. Enraged, Nikolai's criminal associates ambush Vitya, beating him mercilessly and throwing his limp body into the freezing river to drown. Meanwhile, Fedya aggressively confronts Vera, but she fiercely stands her ground, openly declaring her absolute love for Vitya. Blinded by rage, Fedya grabs a can of gasoline to burn Vera's house to the ground while Nura frantically tries to stop him. Miraculously, Vitya survives the river's freezing currents and drags himself onto the muddy bank. Vera finds his battered body and pulls him close, weeping tears of pure devotion. She promises to divorce Nikolai, marry Vitya, and raise their child together, declaring that their love is invincible against any darkness that lies ahead.